Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and another episode of Delicious Cooking. If this is your first time on this channel, please don't forget to hit the subscription button and turn on the notification bell. So today I'll be showing you guys how to make spaghetti sauce and the canning process. Yes, this is actually how I make spaghetti sauce at home for my kids, and they really love this recipe. So guys, stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. So guys, let's get started. This is the tomatoes I got from my garden. Yes, so this video is actually, it's been a while I made this video. It's been over 2 months I made this video, but I haven't gotten enough time to edit this video and do all the necessary stuff that I need to do. So but thank God I have the opportunity to do this today. So let's get started. So the first step, of course, we'll have to wash the tomatoes. So these are the tomatoes that I'll be using. So I'll just go ahead and wash them. So wash them clean. The next step after washing, I'll proceed to cutting them. So I'll make sure I remove all those the head, the dead area. So you don't want to put that might give your tomatoes a little bit of roughness, so you have to cut that out. So the next step, I'll go ahead and proceed to cutting the tomatoes. You don't have to like cut them this little, so you can just slice them into 2 or into 4 or into 6, so depending on how little you want it, so it doesn't really matter to me. So I'll proceed in cutting all the tomatoes. You can cut it with your hands or you can use the chopping board and cut them, whichever one you found, you know, so easy for you to do. You can go ahead and do that. So I'll proceed with cutting this. So this is it. So after cutting them, I'll go ahead and pour them inside the pot. So I'm using my big pot for this. So that pot is filled up. I'll proceed to add into the next pot that is next to there. You can see. So I filled up the 2 pots. So while I was cutting the tomatoes, I already turned the stove on for the first pot that I already filled up. So as you can see, there is a lot of water in the tomatoes now. That means, that shows that it has been on for a while. So I will go ahead and leave this to steam. So this is like after about 40 minutes of the tomatoes cooking. Then I let it cook continuously for another 2 hours. So this is after 2 hours of the tomatoes cooking. So the water has dried up, like about 80% of the water has dried. So but it hasn't dried enough the way I want it to be. So I'll let it cook for an extra few more minutes. So what I did was to add the 2 tomatoes together in one pot. As you can see, the other pot is empty at this point. So this is all the tomatoes together. So the total time of cooking was like about 2.5 hours to 3 hours. So the next step, I'll go ahead and grind them with my blender because I don't want them to remain that rough. So I'll go ahead and blend them. I know sometimes you can decide to like bleach your tomatoes, like take off the skin, all those process, remove this seed. But believe me, when you're making spaghetti sauce, those steps are not necessary. So after blending my tomatoes, I'll go ahead and continue blending every single part of it until they are all done. Look at the consistency. This is what I'm looking for right now. So I'll go ahead and blend the rest of them until they are all ready. So the next step is the seasoning. Yes, so this is my garden, like I told you guys. So this is sweet basil. Like I told you, this video has been like over 2 months. This was like during summer that I made this video, but no time for me to edit it. So right now this is my garden and my backyard. So I'm cutting off some of my basil leaf. So most of the stuff that I'm using for this recipe is actually from my garden. So I cut the basil leaf, and this is my green onions. So I've been harvesting these green onions for like, who knows, for a very long time. I keep harvesting it. So this is the green onions, this is the basil leaf, and these are the green bell peppers. And this is the rosemary that I got from my garden, and I freeze them up. Yeah, so they're kind of frozen, but I got it from my garden, so I put it in my freezer to preserve them. I use them when I need to. And this is the ginger. So this one I bought them from the store. I did not grow this. And this is garlic. So if you want to see how I preserve my garlic and ginger, you can check the video. I have that video up there. So this is the pepper I got from my garden. The green bell pepper I also got from my garden, and the red bell pepper. So all of these, I'll go ahead and cut them up. So this is what they look like after cutting and washing them. So I put them up, and this is the basil. I chopped the basil leaf up and I put them in there. So the last but not the least is onions. So like about 3 to 4 large onions. So I cut them up and put them there. So the next is vegetable oil. So I just have to drizzle in a little bit of vegetable oil. Then I have to put this in my oven to bake them. Yes, you have to like bake this, and then the aroma, you will see the scents, the aroma that will be coming out of this. So after having them in my oven for about 20 minutes, so you can see, I wish you can smell the aroma that is in my kitchen right now with all these vegetables, the herbs. So they smell amazing. So after stirring them up, I went ahead and popped them back into my oven for another 20 minutes. So look at that, it's bubbling right now. So can you see that? So I think I baked this for about a total of 40 to 45 minutes in my oven. So this is what it looks like. It looks so amazing and smells so good. Oh my goodness. Alright guys, so the next step, after letting it cool for like a few minutes, yeah, let it cool off for a few minutes. So it's time for me to like blend them together. Just have to gradually keep blending it until everything is completely blended. We don't need to add any water to this stuff. No, you don't need to add any water. You don't need to ruin the taste of this delicious stuff. Yeah, so this is the oil that was in the vegetables and the herbs. So I pour them inside my pot and pour in all the vegetables that I already blended back into the pot, and let it simmer for like 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes roughly. You don't want to waste anything, so you have to get every single part of those stuff out of the blender. I am an African woman who don't like wasting food, guys. Yeah. So this is brown sugar. Yes, so I add 1 half cup, actually half cup of brown sugar. So I'll go ahead and let it simmer for 3 to 5 minutes. And here I'm adding some salt to taste. So I turned the stove off after letting it cook for like 3 to 5 minutes, like I said before. So I turned the stove off and this sauce is ready. So the next step is to mix them up together. So while I'm waiting, I'll go ahead and start the process, my canning process. So I have the water and the bottle inside. So I went ahead and pour everything together. The tomatoes and the herbs and the vegetables, everything, just add them up together. And then gradually mix this up until everything is well combined together, well incorporated. Look at that. So everything has been well combined together. So I'll go ahead and cover this up and let it simmer for about 5 to 6, roughly, not more than 10 minutes. Yeah. So this is the tools that I'll be using for the canning. I have my spoon, I have my something that looks like spatula. I also have the funnel, then I have the stuff we used to grab the bottle from the hot water. So my bottle is already processed right now. As you can see, the bottle is in the hot water and it's boiling. So the next thing, I will use that gently pour out the water that is in the bottle. So you have to be very careful. You don't want to spill the water and pour it on yourself, and you don't want the bottle to slip off from your hand and the bottle will fall down and break. So you have to be very careful at this point, making sure you're holding the bottle tight. So I just want to make sure that all the water is out. So that's why I'm bending it over and over to make sure it's all out. So the next thing, I'll place the funnel. So just to be sure, I'm just going to stir the tomatoes, the sauce, the spaghetti sauce, stir them together properly. And you must make sure that the sauce is very hot, the same way the bottle is hot, because you cannot add cold spaghetti sauce inside a hot bottle, or adding a hot spaghetti sauce inside a cold bottle. It might break. So you have to be careful to make sure that both stuff are at hot temperature. So after adding that, as you can see, there's some bubbles that you don't want to have. So there's some bubbles around. So we have to take those bubbles off. And that's when the spatula comes in. I call it spatula, but I don't know if there's another name for that, but I just call it spatula. So I use that to like go around in circle to get all the bubbles off. Yes, you don't want to have all those bubbles in there. So the bottle is pretty hot. So you guys, you need towel or something that you can use to hold on so you don't burn your hands. So for me, I like to clean, make sure that the outside is dry and a little bit of the inside. Yeah, you don't want, because it might cause some molds. If you have those out there, it might cause some molds. You don't want to have molds in your tomato sauce that you're preserving. So take another look at it right now. I don't see any bubbles. All the bubbles are gone. So I think the spaghetti sauce is ready to go. and the surface is clean. So guys, this is the cover. So the lid and the band, so I put them in the hot water. Those has to be in the hot water as well. So you have to pick them up. So make sure you get the water out and gently place them in. So we have to tighten them up, but not all the way too tight. You have to tighten it, but leaving a little bit of space. So guys, I'll proceed with this process until all of the spaghetti sauce is canned. So after placing it in there, just like that, so I'll be making this 4 at a time because I don't have a bigger pot. So my pot can only contain 4 at this point. So I'll go ahead and cover that up and let it cook for about 30 minutes. So as you can see, I still have a lot, so I have to continue this process until everything is all completely gone. So look at that. It's boiling for like about 30 minutes now, so it's time for me to bring them out. I'll gradually bring them out and place them in that rack. So this is the second batch that I'm actually doing. So I have 8 already, so I have to do one more step. So guys, that's it. So the next day I let it sit out for 24 hours. So the next day it's time for me to like see if it's properly sealed, and for me to check that. So it's kind of a little bit dusty because of the cooking, so I have to clean it up. So for me to see if it's properly sealed, I have to pick it up from the lid. As you can see, the lid is not falling off, and this weighs like up to 3 pounds. So for me to be able to pick it up from the lid and the lid is not falling off, that means it's properly sealed. So this can sit in my counter for about a year or more than that. So I'm just holding it on the lid and lifting it high and shaking it, but it's not falling off. So this is guaranteed that this is properly sealed. So guys, I'll go ahead and cover this back up and store this in my cabinet till whenever I want to use it, I will just grab it and that will be it. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe today, and I'll see you guys on my next video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. And this I have more tomatoes that I just plucked from my garden. I'll be using this for tomato sauce. Yes, how to make stew tomato sauce. So guys, stay tuned for the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Bye.